Welcome to the Magna AI podcast, where we sit down with principals, district leaders, and instructional innovators who are reshaping what's possible in the classroom with a little help from AI. Together, we explore how school leaders are using smart tools and bold ideas to support teachers, personalize learning, and improve outcomes for every student. Hello, everybody. Today, welcome to the Magna AI podcast new episode. And today we have Kelly, a lifelong educator, who's here, and we'll be talking about what are some of the challenges in instruction, and then how AI can actually help overcome some of those challenges. So, Kelly, do you want to take a couple of minutes talking about how your journey so far, what brought you to your current role and your past experience?
Absolutely. I've been in education now for 26 years. Graduated from the University of Northern Iowa with my undergrad and got my master's degree from UW Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So spent some time teaching, just started out teaching mostly elementary, taught for about 14 years in Eau Claire schools, where I also had some opportunities to do some math coaching work, worked pretty deeply with a PBIS system there, and just grew a bunch of new interests. And that brought me to a consulting position in school improvement work in Iowa, in Cedar Falls. Spent about 10 years there, continued some math consulting, and really got to know education a little bit better at the state level through my statewide school improvement work. So that really was where I really dug deep into how things work just beyond a classroom. So that was really good learning for me. Followed that up with just the last couple of years now. I've been in Cedar Falls Community School District in Cedar Falls, Iowa. So we serve about 5,000 students here, around 400 educators. And I am the K12 curriculum and instruction coordinator for our district.
Oh, that's wonderful, and really interesting to hear your journey. And so, wanted to talk a little bit about since you're focusing so much on curriculum and instruction. I know things have changed a lot in the past few years. So, would you be able to talk a little bit about how curriculum alignment looks like across your district today, and how has it evolved?
Yeah, you bet. I think that the need for high quality instructional materials has really surfaced a bit more. I think that we've landed in a pretty consistent space with Common Core standards now, whereas a large part of our nation is using them and has adopted them, and we lean pretty heavily on them in Iowa. So therefore, the taking some of the guesswork out for teachers. Obviously believe firmly in teacher autonomy and making it creative and unique to their own environment and situation, but really allowing them to have a high quality instructional material to lean on that helps them support the standards work. And in addition to ensuring that is coherent and that our experiences are deep and embedded at each grade level, but also connected. So it gives the teachers a big job to ensure that at their grade level, students are getting the experience they're going to guarantee so that they are prepared for what is coming to them in years to come.
Very interesting. And how do you see these essentially, you talked about the standards and alignment, right? Even within like K-12, there is like elementary, middle, and high school. Would you be able to talk a little bit about how those needs change, especially as you go into high school?
You bet. I think in some ways, I think what we're learning in education is that those needs are very much the same, right? Like we want them to be good citizens and community members and be able to communicate needs and advocate and do all the things that we want. We want them to be able to do that from preschool until graduation. So many of those things stay the same. It's about the level of depth and rigor that we allow kids to perform those in and to practice those in, and the skills that we allow them to enhance through our education. So what does change, obviously, is the depth of content. And so again, kind of with that idea of ensuring a deep experience at each grade level is that vertical alignment. So we do prioritize our standards at each grade level to ensure depth and understanding, and really want to move into of that vertical system, which isn't easy when you've got 400 educators to try to kind of get them all on the same page and have a great understanding of where students are coming from and where they're going. I think it's easy I shouldn't say easy. Nothing in education is. It's more simple for teachers to be able to hone in on their specific grade level, kind of with blinders on as to what's happening previously and after them. And that's where really the magic happens, is when you can rely on before and after to ensure the whole experience district-wide is successful for students.
Totally makes sense. And I mean, I have an elementary school going kid and another one who's actually going into senior year, applying for colleges this time. So I know that over the years, the student engagement also changes quite a bit. So
For sure.
have you seen any kind of instructional shifts that might have actually sparked more stronger student engagement and so on?
Yes. I love that question. I'm very passionate about engaging our students. We've had a good shift here into, first of all, like an attendance kind of initiative statewide. So kind of that idea of like, first, let's get kids in the seats. And then the next thing is engaging them, right? Like, let's get them here. And now they're here. We've got them. And let's now get them excited about learning. And so that is such a critical component. One of the things that we've really seen growing momentum in our school district is some work with building thinking classrooms. That would be work from Peter Lilladal has headed up that work. I was fortunate enough to hear him speak at a Iowa math conference a couple years back, and brought some teachers, and it really shifted some interest in that, actually far more than I even imagined. It really sparked some thoughts of like, hey, I think I can do that. And when kids really take control of the learning, it's just so powerful. And I think teachers have to see it and feel it, because it is hard as when you're hired as an educator and you feel like you have this big task of teaching kids all these things and you kind of have to have all the knowledge. And I think that's a big shift, is our kids do have a lot of the knowledge. It's really about us kind of letting go of some of that ownership, being prepared, be clear, know your outcomes, but at the same time, understand and believe in your students that they can get there. But yeah, building thinking classrooms has been one way that we've really seen a spark in our teachers and students, really, to increase their engagement. And most that's been done through mathematics. But there are opportunities to embed kind of that same practice pedagogy in other content areas as well.
Nice. Great. And with some of these changes, right, and especially like with AI coming on the horizon, have you actually looked at any of the new tools or introduced any tools or strategies recently that might have actually changed how the content is delivered?
Yeah, I wish I knew more. It is like you mentioned, it really is like an up and coming thing. It's been a really big discussion topic in our district. As you can imagine, there's some real like excitement about it, and there's also some nerves. And we've had so many of those building level discussions around, is this cheating? Is this like taking the easy way? Kind of, like we are accustomed to designing our lessons a certain way and preparing a certain way and putting a certain level of time in. And so as an educator, I think to see some of these tools, I would say some of the more common ones that we refer to are like just the ChatGPT and Gemini work. We are a Google district. a little bit of dabbling with Brisk and is it Magic AI or whatever, the Magic School. And some of that you'll hear people using. So some of the bigger ones, but we're really trying hard to not shy away from it and not shy away from allowing our students to access it. I think, Sarvesh, there comes some difficulty because different educators feel differently about it. So just like when you go into a different classroom, you get, the different teacher experience. But this is hard because it's a different expectation. Some teachers are like, yeah, lean into that. That's great. Try this, use it, help it, use this to make your work better and enhance your thinking, enhance your work and think about something differently. And others feel like, oh, that takes away the challenge for the students. And it shouldn't be that easy. And so I think it's leaving some confusion among students and educators, quite honestly, as we kind of sift through this. At the end of the day, I think our stance so far has been, obviously civic awareness, making sure that we are utilizing tools as they're intended and all that good stuff. But also that it's really about the outcome. What are you trying to achieve? If the artificial intelligence takes away from the learning or the outcome that you're trying to get, certainly pause. But in most cases, it's not. It's enhancing it. It's making it stronger. It's giving kids confidence. It's helping them make their work better. And so that's kind of the place that we're at in the shift. If you have any great answers for us and tell us exactly where to start, I would love that.
Yeah, sure, definitely. We'll talk about that. And you rightly pointed out, right? The thing is the teacher population is so diverse, and things are changing so fast on this AI landscape that I feel like more than anything, it's a really difficult exercise in change management. And that actually brings us to our next topic, which is pretty much like supporting educators through change, right? So you talked about this. So would really love to hear, like, given those different needs and so on, do you have any kind of frameworks or thoughts in terms of things that might have worked previously in terms of preparing teachers for such a large scale change that is actually now coming with AI?
Yeah, that's such a great question too. I think a lot of what we've learned over the years, going back, is that education is not getting the same amount of interest from our young people any longer, right? So we're pulling from a smaller pool of educators, one, which knew right away, we learned right away that we had to really support our new teachers. And so I think there's been a push for increased mentoring, programming, and things like that. First of all, like starting, like early intervention kind of things, just like our good in education, good with our new teachers. We want to get them in, support them, make them feel confident and all that. In addition to that, we've had more partnerships with post-secondary colleges and partnerships there to help kind of enhance so that transition is a bit smoother, so that it's not such an alarm entering the classroom, and really trying hard to maintain common language and some consistent learning that happens from the school district or from college level to the school district. And so that's also been, so starting really early, that's what we learned was one big step. In addition, I think it's that tricky balance between having answers for educators and yet allowing autonomy. And there's a very fine line in there, because the bulk of educators want to do their job well, right? They do. And so many times we'll say, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Right? You hear that a lot. And then other times are like, wait, like that steals my creativity, right? Absolutely. And I think that's what fired us up as educators in the first place was being able to be creative and support students and see those sparks of learning. And so you don't want to take that away, because that's that self-fulfillment that really drives us to get better. And so that's another component of it, is being clear with outcomes and understanding and where we want to go and our district goals and our district data, driving all that and being honest and clear and transparent about it. And yet allowing for that flexibility and adaptability about how are we going to get there. And really the power comes in the monitoring. Is what you're doing working for the students in front of you? And if it is, keep doing it. And if we're learning that it's not, let's make some changes and adjust, but we have to build an environment that makes it safe for teachers to feel comfortable doing that. That was probably a long-winded answer to that question, but it's passion of mine, because teacher overwhelm is just such a real thing.
Yeah, it was perfect, and you really touched on those very important points. And as you were talking about, especially like getting them training, and especially for new teachers who are just entering this, any job that you take, it gives you jitters, but like especially teachers going in front of like an entire class, it's really can be challenging. So in terms of these support systems that you talked about, would you be able to share which ones have you found to be like most helpful during times of transition, and which you think are really effective?
Yeah. I think this is not going to be like a, hey, here's your silver bullet, answer to that question. I think it's, at the end of the day, it's really just comes down to basic human understanding and ensuring, again, that these teachers know you. There's a relationship, there's some empathy, there's some understanding, there's a back and forth, there's a safe space for questioning and discomfort. I think that is at the heart of all of this. Because in any good program or intervention or support, you can purchase and put it in place. But if the environment isn't created for that level of safety and ability to struggle and ask questions and make that okay, like that's really where, and that's tricky. Again, that it is, you want to be a leader that's confident and has some credibility, but yet also trust your teachers and allows them to kind of be who they are and show up. And I think that's what I've learned over the years too. The biggest support for teachers is to encourage them to bring themselves to the classroom. If you go home and you're a different person than you are, that you show up for your students the next day, that's exhausting. Like that's like living these two worlds. And the more you can bring of your own loves and interest and family into your classroom family, I believe the better, because it just humanizes you and it just makes the whole experience better. So that's a really global answer to that. I wish I could say, here's how to do that, Sarvesh, but I can't. So.
No, but you touched upon a really important point, Kelly. The thing is, we talk about technology so much, but in the end, there is such a big human aspect to all these changes that we are actually implementing, that we really need to focus on that. And then especially even with AI, I feel one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is actually helping teachers save some of the time so that they can have more human interactions with the students and
Yes.
yeah.
I love that idea of some of the things we've used AI for too, is that like to connect with content, but at maybe various reading levels. And that is so easy. It almost just feels like effortless to be like, okay, I need this and I need these vocabulary words used and I need this to, and it's so amazing. And it builds success for students when they're reading the same content, growing in the same way, having shared experiences with their peers, regardless if their reading level is far above or sometimes below. And so that has been tremendous. support for us too that we've learned. And again, I think it's just getting teachers, giving them the nudge and like the okay to do it, because we still feel like, no, we have to do all these things on our own. That feels like too simple. But I'm so excited for the time that we accept that and we embrace it. And we say like, yeah, that helps me be better at my job and helps me be more efficient and helps my kids be successful. Like that seems like a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. So, talking about that a little bit more, right? So, how do you tailor your professional development programs to actually meet the needs of, let's say, like this diverse population? You mentioned, right? Like there's some of them who might feel that whether or not it's actually a good technology to use, and some of the others might be like really pro and so on. So, yeah, if you can talk a little bit about that, that'll really help our listeners.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes back to I had a colleague I used to work with that always used to say, the more you learn, the less you know. And so kind of chew on that for a while, but it is true. I think the deeper that we get with knowledge, the more we realize, wow, I didn't know a lot about that. So when we do deliver professional learning, I guess a huge component of that, we've done a fair amount of work with Pete Hall, the reflection continuum. And so we do a lot of that work, which really supports the learner wherever they're at. And so we really promote, like, you may be unaware of this, or you may be refining this, whatever stage you're kind of at, you might be somewhere in the middle. You're a benefit to this conversation. And so we've done some of that work when we move into a new practice or when we just revisit an old practice, that's just tried and true. Like this year, our focus is going to be on clarity and engagement. And those aren't new things, which is also exciting, right? But how can we do them better, to enhance like our day-to-day experience? I think the day that I finally grew comfortable with like not being a perfectionist in this work is the day I realized we're never going to quite figure it out, right? There's never going to be a day that I'm just going to show up to work and say, I arrived, like we're done. We're done here. Education, I figured it out and we're good. Like so just building that learner mentality with all educators, regardless of where you're at. If you're a veteran, you've got great things to add. If you're a new teacher, you do too. You came from a different generation of learning and understanding and college experience that you can offer us. And so we really do lean into that quite frequently because it's just the only way we grow, and also want to model that for students. Your students come to you at all different experience levels as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Cool. So now let's moving to a different topic. We talked about supporting educators through change. Now let's talk a little bit about how we can leverage AI and data for instructional impact. So I think you briefly mentioned it, like you're starting to use some of the new tools that are coming in. There things are changing so fast, and I believe you also mentioned that you focus a lot on math as well.
Mm-hmm.
So things that you're seeing out there, are there any tools that you want to use, or are there any kind of gaps that you're seeing in some of the tools that you're using to support instruction?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is just resource credibility, is ensuring that the information that the device or the AI is feeding you is accurate. That's, I think, where we kind of pause as educators. Like you want to just take it and believe it and make it that simple, but we still have to have those, critical lens that we take to the work. And so I think ensuring that our students have that understanding and our teachers have that understanding that there's like this happy medium of like, you still need to have those good abilities to discern data and to be able to look at like, what is it not, what can it do for you, and what can it not? Like, where do we still want to humanize the experience, and what can be more efficient? So that's one thing that I think we get tripped up with a bit, is like, okay, can we trust this? Because again, it feels so simplified, and so quick, that is right at our fingertips. And so, so knowing that, I'm trying to think, there's just so many, like I did mention Brisk, and I'm still I think a lot of our teachers use that more than actually in my work I use it. But that is one that I'm trying to dabble with to kind of see how it can support me. Professionally, I lean a lot on ChatGPT, and, Gemini, just to like support me in, even, tone of professional things that I write, and, help me with this language and stuff like that, like to kind of just simplify that. And then we've also, done a little bit of work with, is it LM
Is it
with Google?
the Notebook LM, which actually creates
Yes. Notebook LM.
Yeah.
And that has been really entertaining, because we felt like, by producing a podcast on, like I mentioned, we're going to be working on engagement and clarity. And so a colleague and I just started kind of talking about some of that information, and feeding it with like, okay, here's our slides, here's our outcomes, here's our goals, here's our measures, here's all this. Help us, clarify this in a way that would, and it was so great, to put it into podcast form. And again, just another way to learn it. We like to offer different modalities for our professional learning. So maybe they read an article, maybe they watch a video, but maybe they listen to a podcast or use an infographic. But whatever it is, we want to offer multiple ways of learning and model that we want that same thing in our classrooms. So those are some recent things. But yeah, the whole podcast was very interesting, and we're hoping to get our own voices in it so we can really, really fire it up for our staff. I think they'll be entertained by that.
Yeah. All of it can be automated.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that worries me too, right? Like
I
that
know.
one human
Yes.
factor is what we are actually going back and forth between each other.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's a really, really interesting, and really helps with the engagement. Especially, I feel, if you have a report or something like that, and then you're driving, then you can definitely put it into it and then listen to it. That definitely
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. But yes, you're right. There are certainly some pauses as well on that. And those are the things, like, it's really that civic responsibility that I think has really elevated our trust in our students. And that's what it really comes down to is, yes, this can help you learn and enhance learning so much. We have to maintain trust and all that, though, as we do it.
Great. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about your. I looked it up, and it looks like you have a really great AP program, and it's really high on the state's index, actually. So congratulations for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So
I can't take a lot of credit for that, Sarvesh. That was all up and running before me, but it is pretty dynamic.
No, but the thing is, I know, like, there was a report recently, like either 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 teachers wouldn't recommend the profession to the next generation, and you always have that shortage. So even if there is a great program, it takes a lot to keep it running. So definitely great job over there.
Thank you.
So So now, do you want to talk a little bit about how what are you hearing from teachers themselves in terms of these new AI tools, right? Do you feel there is a lot of work that needs to be done to actually have some of those changes, because things are changing so fast, and these tools can really help these days teachers. So what are some of the things that you're hearing directly from them? Any concerns that they have, or any kind of things that they're really passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, I think truly the excitement comes from I can make assessments so quick. I can develop, new questions. I can, again, back to the adjust reading levels. I can, these are things that took us a significant amount of time that are faster. I can lesson plan. I can just use it as a kind of a back and forth brainstorming partner. I mean, it just, those things have been very positive. And I think that's where at the district level, we really need to, we have our kind of firewalls and kind of what teachers can use and can't use. And that's where we kind of have to sift through kind of some of those, like what is acceptable, what is dynamic, what is, and determining for them to help support this because you just explore and explore and explore. And, oh, we found this and we found this and we can do this. And then can we use that? Can we there's that level of hesitation. So that's kind of where we're at, is like, yeah, that looks great, but let us look into it a little bit. Let us dig a little bit deeper and find out more about that. I think the biggest concern, so lots of passion around like what's to come and how can this really support my teaching and reduce overwhelm. The concern falls with, is it cheating? I mean, I think it's that simple. And not on a teacher end, on the student end is really that rub right now, as far as if the student uses ChatGPT, is that considered cheating? And I think the mixed messaging around it, because so much of it comes down to our own personal values. And some teachers believe, like, very traditional, I had to do this, I had to work hard, I had to learn how to do that. And it's very difficult to see that be done now so easily in this new format. And some teachers promote it again. And so that becomes very, you mentioned that you have a child going off to college. I have two in college and one that will be a junior, and he's very much a rule follower and quite literal. And so he really is like, well, they said we can use it, but even the kids will say, I feel like that's cheating if I use that, if I do that. And so that's, I think, our biggest job right now, is being able to be beside them and say, like, actually, no, here's the outcome for your learning. By using this, it's going to make that better. It's going to help you get there in a way that helps you. It isn't cheating. Or, you know what? Yes, if you just actually ask it to write that paper for you and then print it out verbatim, okay, that might be a level of that's not responsible. And so I think that's really where we're at with this whole idea of, is it cheating? Is it not cheating? Why do some teachers think it is and some don't? Because it is confusing to our students at the end of the day. I just hope that some of those, especially at the high school, secondary level, are conversations you can have with kids. Hey, here's the expectation. Here's the standard. Here's the outcome I'm expecting. What parts of this do you think would be okay to lean on AI for? And what parts might not be, if this is what you need to learn and do? And I would love to have more student voice at the table when we work through these things, because that's who we're serving. And yeah, some of them might say, I just want to use it all the time to do all my work. Well, okay, then we need to talk about that. But I just, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, you're so right. Especially like having these guidelines, I feel are critical. Especially because now everybody expects you to use AI in your work, right? So now we don't want to be in a place where we are saying that it's a taboo and like classes and so on. And once they actually go into the real world, they have to turn around, and then actually the only successful metric becomes is how well you can use this tool and be successful and perform, right? So
Right.
I totally hear you, and I'm seeing that when we have some interns who actually are coming in, but then they have this thing about like AI. It might not be like the best thing, and then we really have to talk to them and then show them the capability that say like, okay, this is how you use it, and then that's how you can actually do uh,
Yes.
more work. Yeah.
We compared a lot to the birth of the calculator, or like, email oversending company memos in your mailbox, right? Like it became more efficient, but then it does require more of us. Like we are in a much faster paced world now due to email and due to calculators. And so AI is kind of that same thing that, wow, we can do some things a lot more efficiently. Alongside that comes some overwhelm and like, wow, okay, fast paced, and I'm expected to respond faster and complete things faster, but like kind of trying to balance that and stay healthy and maintain, our human sense as well. But I feel like that's kind of the comparison is like, what mathematics does the calculator take away? It's the same thing with kind of AI. What outcomes do we need kids to learn? And does AI take that away or does it make it better? So we're kind of wrestling with that.
Great. Cool. Now let's move to another topic, and which is essentially, again, the student population is also very diverse, and so how do you, if you can talk a little bit about what strategies are you using to actually make the whatever, especially like at high school, it's very rigorous curriculum. How do you make it accessible to like different a population of students?
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate to be able to offer what we offer as far as like enhancement classes for support and advanced placement honors courses. In addition to that, we also have our CAPS program, which is like a early workforce experience. That's pretty dynamic. And so something I learned coming into Cedar Falls is that we kind of have a traditional pathway and then we have a less traditional pathway for those diverse learners. So we have like more like, you can stay in the high school, take the courses. We offer some, we work with our local university, which is kind of nice, and tech, to offer some college level courses for kids that they can get some credits in high school and things like that. And it's more, and can fit kind of more of that traditional pathway and just kind of getting your credits and doing that. And then we have this CAPS pathway as well. That's much more community involved. You're solving real world issues. It's very much authentic learning opportunities, partnering with local business to produce a variety of things that they will request. And so we offer both, and really take pride in that most of our students take advantage of what fits their needs, and learn that. And so that self-awareness becomes critical. Also have excellent counselors that support that and make sure students are getting what they need when they need it. But there is no doubt a diverse need for skills and learning with the population that we have.
Great. So I'm assuming you might have like some form of like differentiated instruction and so on, right? So do you, let's say if there is a program for differentiated instruction, how do you generally like roll it out, and like any kind of professional development that you have to do to roll out such a program?
Are you thinking like
Just
specific to a certain content, or
could be anything, not specifically. Just trying
Okay.
to understand like how PD would typically work to roll out differentiated instruction, especially when let's say teachers have to address a different uh, population of student
Sure.
needs. Yeah.
So we do we lean heavily on MTSS structure and professional learning communities, and so through MTSS we ensure that students have access to, again, core instruction, and that's where the kind of that differentiation comes in. If they need more, um, if they need enhanced, or if they need support, whatever that may be, based on their needs, we certainly try to do that. That's the hope is that we meet those needs at kind of a next level of instruction within. I don't want to claim that is a perfect system, but we certainly try to. But there's only so much time in the day, and so that does become tricky. But we do have a tiered system of support. We also really look at resource allocation in a way that says where are the needs and how do we get support to them in a proactive way as soon as we can, and lean heavily on screening data and formative assessment data, like to make those decisions. We have, like I said, a very healthy professional learning community system from pre-K through 12th grade, where our teachers meet weekly to look at data and plan accordingly, make adjustments. They share students sometimes. They work with varying team members and expertise levels to ensure that instruction is targeted and intensified as needed. So all of that is in place. It can always be strengthened and better. But yeah, we have some systems in place to ensure that we can differentiate for our learners. Yeah.
Sounds good. And it was interesting that you talked about like formative assessments as well, right? Because I think you have to actually do it year long, and once you actually teach a particular topic, then you need to make sure that you're assessing and so on. Which brings us to another challenge, right? Like these assessments when students are writing like free response questions and then things like that. It takes a lot of time to
Mhm.
grade them. So, do you see that being a challenge at your school? And if so, what are some of the things that you think can be done to improve that?
Yeah. I do think the free response, whether it's orally, because we don't have time to do one-on-one interviews with every kid, or in writing, is always tricky, right? To get like good writing pieces and good quality response to that kind of depth of learning that we want to get to, and then have to somehow provide feedback on all of that, right? Like if we're asking the students to do it, we should provide them the feedback to move them closer to that end target for sure. I do think that is a space where some of these AI tools could be highly beneficial, either to the teacher as kind of, again, a partner in critiquing some of that work, or the student in being able to verbalize their thinking into an audio recording or whatever that is. It just to kind of make the ease of that a little bit better. But again, that's where it comes back to that critical lens of like, can I trust this other system to help me with that feedback or help me with that scoring, or, know the intricate vocabulary that we needed to use throughout this process and all that. So really being able to set, and I think we've even learned that just with things like ChatGPT, and that like the clearer you can be in your questioning and your conversation and your expectations of it, the better the response is. And I think that that's some learning probably too that our educators are going to need to do, is how to give good prompts, and those things. But yeah.
Great. So, yeah, as we are coming close to our time, I wanted to just do like a quick lightning round with a few questions,
All
so that
right.
let's go with that. So this is like leadership in practice. So, is there a one word that would describe your leadership style?
Oof. Dang, these quick ones. Um, I would say maybe considerate. Um, I put a lot of thought into what we present, who the audience is, that we have clear delivery. So I think consideration would probably be something that would define me as a leader. The person, I do a lot of contemplating and considering, I guess.
That's so important, and yeah, you don't hear that a lot, but yeah, if you think about it, it's so core to the leadership philosophy. Yeah. Uh, all right. One recent book or article that you read that influenced your thinking, and you want to share?
Oh, that's good. There's so many. Gosh, I look around and my desk here is just full of books. One of the things that I've been reading a lot about right now, I guess, is a simple one. Like I said, we're doing some work with engagement and clarity, so leaning on Fisher and Fry a lot right now, and their playbooks, and really trying to make sure that the work that we're doing is connected, that it doesn't feel isolated. And that's what I love about their work, is that each playbook kind of comes back to the idea of clarity and engagement in some fashion, whether you're working with assessments or uh, instructional practices. And so that's kind of this summer what I've really been digging into as I prep for our upcoming professional learning for teachers.
Great. And what's something that gives you hope about the future of public education?
Definitely our students. I think with all the um, kind of difficulty out there right now, I think the eyes of the student really just tell it all, because they are the most accepting. Um, they've seen it. They embrace diversity. They challenge each other. I just think our kids are amazing. And when we give them the opportunity to lead or to speak or to share, they just show up, almost sometimes in a way that's intimidating to adults. Like, wow, what? A sixth grader just did that and said that. And I think that's what's really exciting, is to just see, wow, that the experiences that our students have, and how they treat each other for the most part. And I just think is a beautiful thing. And I think that's what's most hopeful.
So true. So true. All right. So now as we wrap up, it was a really interesting discussion today. We talked about supporting teachers, some of the new AI tools, helping students through differentiated instructions. And before we sign off, Kelly, do you have a piece of advice you would like to offer district leaders trying to support teachers in this rapidly changing and landscape?
Yeah. I think I'll go back to just something I said earlier. I think first, like, get clear on who you are and who you are as a leader. And as you do that, allow the people around you to also know who they are, and bring as much of that personal aspect to your profession as possible, because the less we have to adjust and change to do our jobs, the better we'll be at them. And just that authentic experience, I think makes for a better for all. And I think it makes it for a safe environment for all your students as well. Is if you show up as your true self, it allows them to also show up as their true individual self as well.
Wonderful. So with that, we come to the close of our new episode on Magna AI podcast. Thank you, Kelly. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's very enjoyable.
Have a story, question, or insight from your own classroom or campus? We would love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in to the Magna AI podcast. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube and learn more at magnaeducation.ai. Because when we support teachers with the right tools, we unlock what's possible for every learner.